Welcome back. A scholarship has been created in honor of a beloved Memphis pastor who was shot and killed during a carjacking back in 2022. Dr. Reverend Artura Eason Williams is being remembered by her alma mater, the Memphis Theological Seminary. Here to talk more about the award and how it's keeping her legacy alive is one of the minds behind this effort, Dr. Mark Matheny of United Methodist Neighborhood Centers. Doctor, welcome back. Good to see you here on 3 at 3.
Thank you, Alex.
Let's talk about the genesis of this scholarship. How did this come about?
A friend of mine who is on faculty, Johnny Jeffords at Memphis Theological Seminary, had the idea. I responded immediately. I thought it was just great, and also I felt like, well, it's going to take some practical work. So I kind of volunteered to do that. And it's been very gratifying to see the kind of response that we've had so far.
Let's talk about that. And I think a lot of people will be very pleasantly surprised to hear about that response. What are we seeing? What happened?
Let me start with saying it's not too late to give.
It's not too late to give, Doctor.
You could say we're at 60,000 of our 100,000 goal in just 3 months. But we could also say we have 40,000 to go. But the goal is 100,000, which will fund 2 scholarships every year at the seminary.
Wow. What does this say to you about this outpouring, the community coming together once again to show their support?
People remember. They remember Artura and what a wonderful pastor and leader she was. They remember the causes that she worked hard to help make progress in for Memphis. And so there's a heartwarming element of those who knew her. And then there's folks who never met her, but they were touched by the way in which this is a kind of a, it's kind of a crucifixion resurrection. That is, her death, we'll miss her so much, we'll remember her, but you know, if there can be some future Arturas that come up through the seminary as she did, that would just be great.
Yeah, when it comes to the scholarship itself and what these young people will study, will it pertain to some of the things that she was passionate about? I know when it comes to race issues, that was one thing. When it comes to gun violence, that was another. Does that kind of go hand in hand there, Doctor?
Yeah, here's how it works.
Okay.
The students will have regular courses and such, as everyone else who's pursuing pastoral ministry, but then they'll have the opportunity to relate to our United Methodist Neighborhood Centers group, working in the area of anti-gun violence, and also with a group called Signpost, which is a special course where lay and clergy folks can really dig in together to overcome racism. And so each student will be given that opportunity, sort of like a mini intern, and it'll be shaped so that it will not interfere with their scholastic work, but actually hopefully enhance it.
Yeah, a lot of people may be watching right now wondering, have those young people been chosen, selected yet? What's that process like? How close?
I'm so proud that the seminary has waived their usual timeline on this, because normally by May 31st, a student would have to apply for the fall semester. In this case, they extended it so that the process is now ongoing until September 19th. Then at that time, the seminary's committee will choose student, and we'll have our very first scholarship student, and then there'll be 2 next semester.
Right, right. Will there be any type of ceremony you're hoping? I mean, what's the planning for that like?
We want to have a celebration and a news conference. You're invited, you and April and others, of course.
You know, we'll be right there for you.
And have a chance for not only interview with the leadership team and the seminary leadership, but also the student. And we think that will ignite some wonderful response to continue.
Doctor, as I listen to you, it makes me wonder, have you had a chance to talk with any family members of Dr. Eason Williams, and what have they said to you about this?
Yes, and especially the eldest daughter, her name is Ayanna. She's married now, Ayanna James, lives in Illinois now. She called and wanted me to help contact United Methodist Church and District there, because she's planning to do a memorial garden remembering her mom. But she was thrilled to hear about this. And then, as you saw the other day with the news story with April, the picture of her and the grandbaby.
I remember seeing that quite well.
First grandchild, her name is Allura, and she's a little girl about 6 or 7 months old now.
I see that smile on your face. It seems like all of this really personally touches you quite a bit, does it not?
It's one of the, I tell everyone, this is one of the most worthy causes I've ever worked on, and I can't tell you how heartwarming it is to have known her, and then to see people respond in this way so the legacy becomes real and continues.
And one last thing I want to kind of wrap things up with. One quote of yours, you said, again, this city needs more Arturas. What do you mean by that and why?
We need pastoral leaders who have a balance of their spiritual leadership of a congregation, but not in competition with everyone else, but working together for a better community. That's what she did. She was truly interfaith, ecumenical, as well as United Methodist. And we need that in terms of grappling with the most difficult issues. Like you and Mr. Kane talked about earlier, we've got a definite problem with violence and crime. We can only solve that working together and allying with one another, not simply competing for money and for the most attention. So I'm hopeful that Artura's life is definitely a sign of that, as well as this whole effort with the scholarship and the future students.
Dr. Matheny, we're honored to have you here. Let's keep this conversation going. We'd love to have you back in the near future.
Thank you so much, Alex.
All right, good to see you. Thank you very much for your time.